You're not the first person to do that.
I believe that.
Joseph, can you tell us a little bit about the background, about how you ended up here, about your connection with the team, who you know, how far back that goes?
So last year I was with the RGV Vipers, head coach there. It's my 4th year with the Vipers, with the Houston Rockets organization. And God's plan, to be honest with you. I can't say I really knew anyone before I got here. I came here and I was blessed enough to make good connection. I think Brett and I get along very well. We have a really good connection. A lot of his my European basketball experience as a player, I think we mesh well with that. And I've just been really blessed to be around a good organization, good staff. They value me here. They value what I do. I'm happy to be here and excited for the year.
And the Vipers are known as one of the experimental sort of programs in the G League. So are there things you're going to bring up here to say, all right, well, we tried these kind of things?
I can tell you a lot of what we've done, somewhat offensively in particular, we talked about tonight in the spacing. I was a pretty stickler for a lot of those things. I'm a big corner spacing out our forward as well. That's one of the things that I really was adamant about trying to implement here. So I'm happy to see that we're doing a little bit more with our spacing. Obviously, our offense with the Rockets and the Vipers was much different than what we are here. We're not a post-up team at all, so that's something I'm interested in. I'm very excited to learn more about and on the offensive side as well, being on the offensive side of the ball myself. But, I'm just trying to bring what I can, add value where I can.
So what do you think about working exclusively with the offense? Brett kind of breaks it up a little bit differently. He has coordinators, quote unquote. What did he tell you about what he wants you to work on specifically and what your role is going to be?
I'm on the offensive side of the ball, just like you said, but there's no, we are a very inclusive staff. It's not that just offense can talk about offense and not just, I can also chime in on defense. We've had our meetings this past week where I've chimed in quite a few times on the defense side of the ball as well. But obviously, my role and responsibilities are more on the offensive side of the ball. Just try to help where I can, see things I can see, and hopefully add value to the offensive side.
Sixers lost that pretty key piece of the offense, JJ Redick. What do you see as solutions to replace that, or just new approaches with the team?
Well, we lost a key piece with JJ, but we also added some great pieces with Josh, with Al. Tobias also has really flourished as an athlete over in player last year on his maturity level as well. You didn't see him in the preseason. It looks like he's even more prepared this year to be to fill an even bigger role with the team.
Just curious as to your thoughts on Ben Simmons. He's such a natural talent. There's a lot of talk here nonstop about his jump shot or his lack thereof. What do you see as, when you look at him as a player right now, where do you think he is and where do you think he can be and where does he need to be?
Well, Ben, I think we all know he's a young player full of potential, and he's flourishing and developing that potential year by year, day by day, game by game. And that's what that's what I would like to see from him. That's what I expect to see from him. But he's just going to keep taking strides to get better. I don't think we're going to see the best Ben Simmons we're ever going to see in his career yet this year, but we are going to see a developed Ben Simmons from last year.
Speaking of the corner three and the young guys, Zaire and Matisse is pretty fair. They're going to spend a lot of time when they're on the floor in those corners, and that's going to be a big part of their responsibility.
We'd like to see that for sure, but when you talk about both those guys, you name two guys that are just almost apples to oranges when it comes to those two. Zaire, extremely athletic guy. He's a guy that I'm expecting to see him tip dunking offensive rebounds back in, developing his shot even more, big time slasher. Matisse, unbelievable defender. I expect him to be, when he's out there, at least one steal for every 2 to 3 minutes he's in the game because he's so active on the defensive end. So, but obviously when we talk about the offensive side, definitely I want them guys to be able to space the floor. But again, as much as they're in the elbows, like I said about Zaire, he's a guy who can back cut at any given time and create easy baskets.
Brett talks a lot about how he splits it up, like special teams, kind of after timeout things. Is that something you're going to be a part of too? He calls it affiliate.
Well, we have in the past. I know when I came in, we talked heavily about the thirds. This year it's going to be a little bit different. We're kind of trying to mesh those things a little bit more. So we're not exclusively talking about after timeouts or after misses or after makes. Obviously, it's still going to be a delineation, and there's going to be a little bit of priority placed on certain aspects. But more so than ever, in my opinion, Brett is starting to mesh those and marry those things together.
With the East wide open, how important is it going to be to make the team stay focused and take it one game by one game?
That's a very broad and general question, to be honest with you. I think it's always, no matter if the East was wide open or wasn't wide open, our job as coaches is to get not only ourselves but also players and the complete organization to think game by game.
When you decided to take this job, what was it that stuck out about this team that made you most excited to move to Philadelphia and get going?
I remember in my interview process, Brett asked me, when I think about this team, what comes to mind, and I just think potential, and excitement and energy. And that's one of the big, I think this is a team that's going to continue to develop, continue to get better. They have a great core that I think can continue to flourish as they even learn to play together even more, and they develop as individual players. There's going to be a team to watch for years to come. And for me, I'm excited to be a part of that and developing these young players, developing a team that has that sort of potential.
Brett's always been a guy. I mean, he said it tonight. He's not really into play calls. He talks a lot about organic basketball and natural motion and stuff like that. Does that match up with what you like philosophically?
I love it. I'm a very big believer in. Well, first of all, let me just talk about my spirituality. I'm believing, God has a plan. It's all going to work out the way it's supposed to work out. So you talk about the basketball court, organic growth is one of the things that I'm a firm believer in. You give guys a skeleton and then you let them put on the muscles where they can flex the most. And when you talk about organic growth on the basketball court, that is something I'm a very firm believer in.
Thanks a lot, Joseph.
Thanks for